Imagine you've maxed out all your credit cards. To pay them off, you decide to lend yourself the money. Sounds crazy, right? You'd be bankrupt in months. Yet, this is almost exactly how the United States government finances itself. It borrows money by selling bonds, and then its own central bank, the Federal Reserve, buys those very same bonds. On the surface, it looks like the US is paying itself with money it doesn't even have. In reality, it's the biggest financial trick in the world, and it's the foundation of the entire global economy. The question isn't whether the trick is clever, it's how long it can last before the illusion shatters. To get this, we need to understand what a government bond is. It's basically an IOU. When the US Treasury issues a bond, it's saying, lend me money now, and I'll pay you back later with interest. For over 2 centuries, these bonds have been seen as the safest investment on Earth, backed by the full faith and credit of the United States. This trust has allowed the US to run deficits year after year, spending more than it collects in taxes, always confident that someone will buy its debt. This system started way back. After the Revolutionary War, the young US was drowning in debt. Alexander Hamilton, the first Treasury Secretary, had a brilliant idea. Issue new bonds to honor the old debts. It worked. By proving it would pay its bills, the US built credibility and investors kept lending. But this locked the nation into a cycle of borrowing to pay off old borrowing. Bonds became the lifeblood of American finance. The game changed forever with the creation of the Federal Reserve in 1913. The Fed was designed to stabilize the banking system, but it also became the government's partner in debt. During World War II, the Treasury needed huge sums of money. The Fed stepped in and agreed to buy government bonds to keep borrowing costs low. In effect, the US had found a way to guarantee demand for its own debt. The Fed could just create money and use it to buy treasuries. Then came 1971, the year the trick went global. Until then, the US dollar was backed by gold. But with debts piling up from the Vietnam War, President Nixon severed the link. From that moment on, the dollar's value rested on one thing and one thing only: trust. Trust that the US government would make good on its IOUs. The system became pure paper, pure faith. So how does it work today? The Treasury issues bonds to cover the government's overspending. These bonds are bought by investors all over the world, foreign governments, like China and Japan, pension funds, and banks. But when demand isn't strong enough, the Federal Reserve steps in. It creates new money digitally, typing numbers into existence, and uses it to buy those bonds. This is what happened on a massive scale after the 2008 financial crisis, and again during the pandemic. The Fed bought trillions of dollars of bonds, effectively financing government spending with money created out of thin air. To most people, this sounds insane. How can a country borrow from itself? But this is the core of modern finance. It asks how wars are fought without raising taxes, and how stimulus checks suddenly appear in your bank account. And while it looks like magic, there's a hidden cost. A cost paid not by Washington or Wall Street, but by you through the silent tax of inflation. Every time new money is created to buy bonds, the value of the dollars in your pocket gets down. You pay more at the grocery store, and your savings slowly erode. The winners are obvious. Politicians get to spend freely, and big banks get bailed out. The losers, ordinary citizens paying the price through inflation. And there's another risk: dependency. The US debt has ballooned to over $30 trillion. Foreign countries are starting to sell off their US bonds, forcing the government to rely even more on the Fed. This means more money creation and more inflation pressure. Why should you care? Because this isn't some abstract economic theory. It directly affects your life. The value of your savings, your grocery bill, your mortgage, it's all connected to this bond trick. The system works only as long as people trust it. But history shows us that illusions always break. The real danger is fragility. If global confidence in the US dollar cracks, the entire system could shake. Understanding this trick is the first step to financial awareness. It shows how power and money are linked, and why debt keeps climbing no matter who is in charge. This isn't a partisan issue. It's structural. It's the invisible machine that keeps the whole thing running till it doesn't. History doesn't repeat, but it certainly rhymes. The question isn't if the illusion will end, but when. If this gave you a new perspective, hit that subscribe button. History has the answers, and I'll show you where to find them. Thanks for watching.